Just getting myself ready for stage 4 of the Tour of Britannia. This is the Syco-list, let's get on with it. Well, here we go then, stage 4 of the Tour of Britannia, put on by Flamme Rouge Racing. 4th consecutive day of racing for me. This one is on the Harrogate course, 2 laps of it. So I know there's a few little climbs and stuff in this one. Having spoken to a few of my teammates that have already raced this earlier on in the day, they've advised me that not long after you start this race there is a long drawn out climb that a few people got dropped on in their races, so it's just one to bear in mind as we lead this out. So this is the 2019 UCI Worlds course that was done in Harrogate. We've got 2 laps of it, just over 17 miles this race. Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting one. I'm sitting in about 40th place in GC after the first 3 events. Quite happy with that. I think there's over 100 riders in my category, so I'm in the top half of that group, which is good. The main thing for me is just seeing if I can get through the 10 days of racing, which I've not done something like this before, but I have done an Everest, virtual Everesting last year. So I like to challenge myself and do some things that are a little bit different, and this is definitely doing that. So let's see how we get on. So we're just moving towards the sort of midsection of this little rise as we've come out of the start pens. Trying just to sit in the wheels like all my other races I've done this week. Just where I can sit in the group I will. I don't want to do too much on the front, don't want to be off the back, just need to sit in. So that's my plan, 4% gradient here. This one started a little bit quicker than a couple of the other races. So yeah, holding just over 300 watts average at the moment, and just staying with this group. Not trying to do too much. You can see on the screen there's a few glitches where I'm still struggling with my connection issues. Not sure what's going on, lost everything. But I know that once I lose connection I just got to keep going, try and hold the same power, try and keep going, and then the connection will come back. So obviously I've lost connection at the moment, but as I'm in the game it will just keep refreshing itself to try and get that connection back, and it's still doing my power. Here on my right you can see in the blue tri kit, it's just disappeared off the screen, is actually my coach, Bateman from Crown Cycle Coaching. Didn't realise he was racing this one today, but yeah, so I'm racing alongside my coach, which is going to be interesting. I don't know if he's just trying to sit with me, but I know he's in the race now, so that's an incentive to try and stick with him or stay in the same group as him. Still getting a few connection issues, but I'm managing to stay within this group and just seeing it out. Don't want to do too much, but it's just a nightmare when these glitches happen. But you persevere. I've had it the last couple of days, but as long as you can keep the power on and just work through it, when it does reconnect you should still be in the right place in the race. So here, in the sort of top 20 of this race, we've done the first little climb and I'm just sat back in again. So nothing much is really materialising in this race. It's sort of all staying together as I'd expect. This course is a bit rolling in places. No real significant climbs as such really. They just seem to roll into one another. Just starting another one here. Sort of a 3-4% gradient into 4 to nearly 5% on this amber section. But again, just sat in, holding the wheels. Teammate there from Level Racing's just come alongside me. I think that's Guy Pethy, but I've just put a little dig in there because I've lost connection again. Not sure what's going on. So I reconnected and it shows that I'm first out of 94, which is good, but I can't see anybody around me, so just sitting off the pedals a little bit now, just letting them come back towards me as we do this 2% little climb here. This rider we're just coming up behind now has obviously been dropped off the group that went out before us. We'll quickly go past this one. But yeah, it's 2 laps of this course. We'll see how we get on. Like I said, this is stage 4. We've had an individual time trial and a couple of points races. This one's a slightly shorter race today, but it's still going to be a hard effort with a few climbs that Yorkshire offers. So this is the start of the Yorkshire KOM, which is a 5.5 average gradient over 0.7 of a mile. This is one that I need to try and stay with really, because this is where it's probably going to break up on this first lap. I know that my watts per kilo aren't going to match everybody else, so I just need to put a dig in, try and see if I can stay with this front group. Don't want to get dropped at this point, especially not on the first lap, but this is probably the most significant climb on the whole course. So just trying to put in and stay with this top group. Sat in 25th place at the moment, just seeing what I can do and if I can hold. Don't know where my coach has gone at the moment, but if I see his name on the screen, it'll give me a bit of an incentive to either try and hold his wheel or stick with him, but can't see him at the moment. And a couple of my teammates have had to pull out of this race this evening due to issues with their connections and stuff. I think I've got one teammate in another category that's racing in the same time race as this. But yeah, just sat in the wheels trying to get this climb done and see where we can come off the top of it. I'm starting to get dropped a little bit now. Legs have gone. Here comes my coach on my left hand side, just moving past me. He's clearly got more in his legs than me, putting out 4.6 watts per kilo and moving past me as if I'm standing still. But he's ahead of me now. I've just got to get through the top of this climb and race my aim race. So I have slid quite a way back now, dropping down to nearly 40th place as we come to the top of this climb. Hopefully we'll be able to gain on the down, but yeah, just lost a few wheels there and have slid back slightly within 15 minutes of racing, averaging 292 watts, but gradually slipping back. So I got dropped off the front of that group, going over the climb, making the most of this descent here. I'm in a nice little group and we seem to be just pulling well. Still working, not giving up on this race. I've noticed over the last few races that if you go until the end, you're better off, because people do drop in the front group and they either sit up and give up, or they just sit up and their legs are done. I feel like my endurance is quite good. I can persevere and push through. So again here, a little rise, just going to try and sit in with this group. Probably going to end up, if I could aim for a top half finish, so anything better than 45th would be ideal. Just got to try and push through. My coach is down in the group in front of us. I think he's going to come on screen shortly as we come up past here. Yep, there he is, my coach, just gone out the back there. Don't know if he's blown up or if he's got a mechanical issue, but just keep pushing on now. The incentive is to stay with this group, and if we can start picking people off and work as a group, then that'd be brilliant. But the group down the road have got sort of 10-15 seconds on us now, and we're still on lap 1. So I'm going to turn the corner here into the Yorkshire sprint. I'm not contesting these sprints. Some people do. It's not my thing. I'm not a sprinter. By looking at some of these videos, I'm probably not a climber either. So, but yeah, not contesting the sprint. Just going to try and stay with this group, and those that are sprinting will probably sit up as we come through the barrier anyway. So underneath the sprint banner, and then get this group working and see what we can gain. So going through that banner at 35th place, not too shabby at the moment. So we're just heading down to the finish line for lap 1. So sat in this group at the moment, 32nd place after 22 minutes nearly of racing, 8.5 miles, averaging 284 watts, heart rate sitting at 158, which is slightly lower than normal for me, but I'm still working, as you can see in the footage in the bottom left corner. Still working. In this video I'm repping the old Scott Redding cycle team kit from a few seasons ago. It's my old team. So yeah, just repping that kit tonight. A bit of pink, a bit of muck off lightning flashes there as well. So sit with this group now, starting lap 2, and we're gonna have that first rise that I mentioned earlier on. See if I can sit with this group as we got through here. Going up over this short gradient, sort of 4% gradient we're on now. Still sat around the same place, putting a bit of an effort in. Looks like I'm starting to go backwards a little bit at this point, but still putting the power down, still trying to stay with the wheels, close those gaps as I can. But yeah, 33rd place. If I can stick amongst these wheels and get through and sort of hold this sort of place, I'll be happy. I just don't want to slide backwards, especially now that I've got the Yorkshire KOM and that to come in a little while too, so the more wheels I can hold at this stage the better. But it looks like I'm slowly going backwards again. One of the things I've discussed with my coach recently is I really need to put myself into that hurt locker and understand that when it starts hurting I don't give up, which I've done in a few races this season. So here I can see that I'm trying to gain on the people in front of us. They've had a few seconds. I haven't given up the chase. I know that if I can get across to them it's going to be better. So making the most of downhill, attack this short little kicker rise and try and get back within that group, which I have. So that was needing to understand more about my own ability and putting myself in that hurt locker and feeling the pain a bit more. So got my heart rate back up, caught on with that group that I was after, and then realised that these two riders in front of us are only a couple of seconds away, so if we can chase them down as well, that's going to get me around that 30th place. So I might have dropped on the hill, but I've gained a few places back by attacking on the descent and trying to get back across to them. Now sat in 31st. I'm sort of on my own here. I've got away from the group behind me, put 6 seconds into them and got away. But I'm chasing down a group in front of me that are 3-4 seconds away. So this is the chase now. Can I get across to them and then recover once I get to them? Just taking this descent, there's a bit of a rest period. Got the aero tuck going on, stop pedalling. 50 miles an hour downhill. Gone 55, 56 miles an hour without pedaling. That's a bonus. Just trying my best to gain. I'm 2 seconds behind this group now. Back on the pedals for that little rise. Another little downhill bit. This chase is nearly over. Hopefully I can get across to this group, and that puts me in around the 30th place mark once I get this group. So there you go, chased across. Back in with them. Just come off the pedals, bit of light pedaling. There we are, back across to that group now, sat in 27th, so gradually picking people up. about to turn into the start of the Yorkshire KOM for the second time on this final lap. I've managed to bridge across to this group and sit with them, say around the high 20s to 30s in our group. But I really need to stay with this group now. The group behind us we're 10 seconds ahead of, but there's a lone rider 6 seconds ahead of us. So if we can get across to that one rider and close the 6 seconds, that'd be great. But obviously we don't want the gap behind us to come down either, so we need to work on this climb, stay within the wheels, work together, and hopefully we can get across and finish this race as a group and see who's got the legs for the final sprint. So I've worked hard up this climb. I think the face in the picture is saying it all really. Yeah, I've put out a bit of an effort to try and stay with this. Still sat in 29th place, which was ideal. We've closed the gap on that lone rider down to 2 seconds now, so hopefully if we can bring that rider into our group, then we can push on into the descent now and see if we can move up. But looking for a top 30 place finish would be good in this race now. Out of 94, it's not a bad day's work. So here now with 2 miles to go, that lone rider, we've not closed the gap on him, he's 3 seconds ahead of us. I tried a little dig to try and see if I can get across to him on my own, but it's not happened. So I've sat up and just thought, well, nobody's going to work in this little group, so we'll just roll it in together. Going into the sprint, I'm not going to contest this again, because I know that once they get through the sprint, they'll all sit up anyway. So I'll just do a little bit of a dig just to stay with them. Clearly not a sprint, just hold the wheels, get through it. So when we get the other side, we can close the gap. This is the final little kick here, just going to try and see if I can move to the front of this group. The rider ahead of us now has got 6 seconds, so the likelihood of bringing that back is going to be slim. It's just now a case of the final mile, get this descent done, and I think the finish is up a little kicker itself, but I don't know what I've pushed out the front here. I've obviously tried to see if I can close this gap, putting out 350-ish watts there, trying to get a dig across. Bringing the gap down to the rider in front, it's down to 2 seconds now, and I am getting there, but I'm just dragging everybody behind me with me, so as I start to fade, probably in a minute, they'll start to come past me, but I'm making the effort, making it a race. I want to finish it to the end. Bring it all the way to the finish line, so half a mile to go. As expected, I've done the effort on this little rise here, 8%. I've dropped back a little bit into 30th place, and a few of those riders that have been sat on my wheel have come through. Now it's just a case of the final bit of this race, bring it home and see if I can finish in the top 30 or not. Sat in 30th at the moment. I am feeling it. There isn't going to be much of a sprint out of me, I don't think. But hopefully we can see who reacts and who goes, but the riders behind us are 5 seconds or so behind. So the worst I can do is 30th. There's one rider who's gone for a little bit of a sprint with 700 feet to go. I'm just going to hold his wheel and go with him. 450 watts, probably the best I've got, seated, not getting out the saddle and sprinting. Bring that home, get over the line, looks like 28th place, so not a bad day's work. Stage 4 completed. What did I put out watts wise? 277 watts, 3.5 watts per kilo. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please click the like button, click the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.